What's going on, y'all? So, Big Facts is back again. And, with this latest craze during this whole pandemic, a lot of people have been wondering whether or not they should invest in Bitcoin. What's the latest investments they should get into? And, Bitcoin has been they've been showing some remarkable gains from 2020 into this year, from the start of the pandemic and into 2021. I mean, I think about a week or two ago, it reached all-time highs of over $60,000 per Bitcoin. But it has slowly lost steam. As you can see, the price currently stands around 54, I should say, 54,790. And, that can, part of the reason why is because the US dollar has actually strengthened. The US dollar has actually gotten stronger as Bitcoin has dwindled. And part of the reason why the US dollar has gotten stronger is because of the fact that, you know, um, quite frankly, Europe is still locked down, and cases are starting to rise in a lot of these other places like Japan, many parts in the UK as well. And, with them still experiencing a lockdown, the global economy isn't to full force. That the only real market or heavy dominant player market that's open for business is the United States, which makes the dollar so expensive, which increases the cost for commodities, making that much pricier. So, you know, even despite all the money printing that has been going on with the Federal Reserve, the dollar still is strengthening. I mean, the dollar has risen, you know, to as high as about 103. The Dixie dollar currency index has risen about 103, and that was on March the 23rd of 2020. It has dipped down, down into around 92 area where we are today, $92. But the dollar has actually has done relatively well. Now, the question begs it, do you really want a strong dollar? That makes U.S. imports a hell of a lot more expensive. It makes the U.S. economy probably export less because people in developing nations and even in parts of Europe can't even afford to buy U.S. goods with a strong dollar. And when you look at dollar yields, like the U.S. 10-year, the 10-year treasury yields those have gone up, which basically is an indication for many people that, banks are definitely going to see an increase. There's going to definitely be an increase in banking is definitely going to take off. So if you're investing in, different financial companies, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, you're going to see a rise in them. So you see in the 10-year, which is a good representation of interest rates, that has risen to 1.6, and interest rates have risen in the United States. And despite, with interest rates still rising, people still are going out wanting to buy homes because of the stimulus checks that they got. They feel like they have a steady down payment, but inventory is so short, which is actually the reason why housing prices, primarily in California, are still astronomically so high, because there's a shortage in housing and there's such a huge demand of people wanting to, be first-time home buyers and purchase homes, and they have all this extra pent-up cash from all the stimulus money. And with the lower interest rates that they probably locked in earlier, but there's no available housing for them to purchase, and that's why you see the high prices in housing. So with all this money printing that has gone on and everything, and people talk about, hyperinflation, but they say that, but they don't want to talk about where the real inflation is going on, which is in asset prices. When you look at stocks, commodities, if you want to put real estate in there, those have all inflated and basically have shot up because different market forces, like there's a shortage in supply. What's it called again? Then you look at a shortage of supply, people have all this extra money that they could put down, so you have an increase in demand but a shortage in supply. That right there is, through and through going to see inflated prices. That is what you're going to see, period, point blank. So all said and done, if you were to ask me where to place my money, where am I going to go? Obviously, right now, taking on a dollar trade, if you want to bet on the US dollar, This is actually a good trade. The USD dollar CAD. That is actually a great trade that one will definitely want to pick up. It's trading relatively cheap at 125. So, you could definitely see as the dollar continues to strengthen, this could definitely shoot up. Definitely shoot up. Even if we go to a shorter time frame, like, on a 4 hour here, it's definitely building up pressure to where this can shoot up at any moment in time, sometime next week. And it would not shock me at all. So, we want to keep a look for that. And betting on Bitcoin, yes, it's a great commodity. It's a great risk asset to have. You're going to see higher returns, and you're going to see very volatile swings downwards. But in terms of where the forecast and where things are going to go, I mean, as long as Europe continues to stay locked down, and the United States being the only major player on the market, major consumer on the market, the dollar is going to continue to increase. The dollar is going to continue to see increase. Now, we're going to see probably some rounds of stimulus, because I don't necessarily think economically U.S. policymakers want to have a strong dollar. They probably want to continue part of the Trump policy of weakening the U.S. dollar, and probably will look to lower rates. But who knows? I mean, the U.S. monetary policy has actually been shifting to wanting to be more, to basically tighten up things, have the rates increase, but gradually. They don't want it to shoot up too high where a lot of people have amassed a lot of debt, and then people can't service that debt, and then that just tosses us into much bigger problems. But we shall see. All said and done, right now, the U.S. is the hottest market in town in the short term. We can't really speak on the long term because everything is so up and down. But in the short term, the U.S. dollar is the hottest market in town. I would definitely try to transition, put in a few dollar trades as it continues to appreciate. But I want to hear what y'all have to say. Like, comment, subscribe down below. I'm out.